Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And yeah, it's been a couple of days since my Doctor Who Series 1 review, all the way back towards the start of this month. But yeah, we finally made it. The 60th anniversary specials are here. Well, technically, only the first one has come out. The next two, are yet to air on television, but they're here, Doctor Who is back. And what a time for the series, am I right? Because the last special that we had was just about a year ago now, and that was the BBC Centenary special, The Power of the Doctor. And after leaving that special thinking not much of it, and just thinking, it's fine, nothing less, nothing more, the hype for the 60th anniversary, fucking hell. I mean, the way in which The Power of the Doctor ended with Jodie Whittaker regenerating into David Tennant, him coming back as the Doctor, that set expectations already very high. But then you get Catherine Tate returning as Donna Noble, Russell T Davies returning as showrunner, Murray Gold returning as composer. All of that just... wow, there was a lot of excitement behind this, and now, after a long time of waiting, on top of hearing of the deal that's being arranged with Doctor Who also being put onto Disney Plus, well, the new Doctor Who as it is, yeah, we're truly in a brand new age, everybody. It's a brand new adventure in space and time. And as of today, the 25th of November 2023, the first of the three-part 60th anniversary specials has aired on TV, titled The Starbeast. I watched it with family, talked about it afterwards with friends, and, well, since everybody seems to be talking about it online, I feel I should join in the online conversation the best way I can. Also to, boost the chances of my Series 1 Doctor Who review getting more views, because, yeah, the algorithm hates me. But I'm not going to go in depth the same way that I did with my Series 1 review. I'm only going to talk about the things that I didn't like, the things that I really liked, and that's it. So yeah, here are my very brief thoughts on the first of the three parts 60th anniversary special, starting with the negatives so we can end on positive notes. I should also note that I am going to be talking about spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched this special for whatever reason and want to go into this completely blind, go and watch it and then come back to this video. I'll give you about 3 seconds to do so. Okay, let's go. The way in which the special concluded with them fixing Donna Noble's metacrisis really just kind of irked me, and for those of you who have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, at the end of Series 4, Donna saved the universe through timey whimey stuff, by touching the Doctor's spare hand, inherited Time Lord energy inside her body, which made her half Doctor, half Donna, or as many people like to say, the Doctor Donna. But because Time Lord metacrises can't happen, the energy started burning away at her mind. The only way that the Doctor could resolve that was by erasing her memories of all their adventures together and leaving her with Sylvia and Wilf in Cheswick. It was a very tragic end to Series 4, and one of the most powerful plot points of that series in particular. I'd love to be able to talk about that whenever I get to Series 4, or if I get to talking about Series 4 of Doctor Who. But yeah, knowing that Donna Noble was coming back to Doctor Who, it raised a lot of questions, me especially, of how they were going to write around that metacrisis. And when it was revealed in the trailer that Donna would remember, it made me think, okay, they're going to write something in where the metacrisis doesn't affect her for her adventures. We're just going to have to bite the bullet, but hopefully they work out something around this. And in this special, for a lot of the special, Donna doesn't fully remember, but it's right at the very end when she and the Doctor are placed in this sort of inescapable death situation, which requires Donna Noble to know what buttons to press and know which switches to flick, that the Doctor has to remind her of her adventures and remind her of her Time Lord intelligence so she has the capacity to help him, even though it only gives her about 50 seconds alive before her mind burns up. Donna Noble dies on the Doctor's arms. It's all very tragic, and then she comes back to life. Okay. I mean, a lot of this screams Davies Ex Machina, which, if you've seen my Series 1 review, can really heavily affect what can otherwise be a very powerful ending to a series or an episode in general. But then to kind of push that a little bit further, she just lets go of it. She just lets go of the meta-crisis, because she can do that, because the daughter that she's given birth to, Rose Noble, yes, there's the connection of her naming her Rose. They make that joke for about one scene, and then just kind of brush over it. It's cute. It's nice. But yeah, she has a daughter who also shares that same meta-crisis, which allows her to also push some buttons to help them stop the villain's plan in this. And when the villain is defeated and the Doctor's worrying about, the meta-crisis, still burning up inside Donna and Rose, they just decide, no, we're just going to let this go. And they let it go. Jeez. I mean, it's not like Russell has been in control of Doctor Who since Series 4. He's been away for a long time, and since then it's passed on to Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall. He's spent time away from this, and this is his first special back. So it's not like he's built anything up to ridding Donna of this meta-crisis. But the way in which it is solved is so fucking hammy. So fucking undeserved. It feels like an undeserved ending to this plotline. It feels like it should have some drastic consequences, and while you kind of feel that for when she dies in the Doctor's arms, it only lasts for a couple seconds, so it's almost like it doesn't mean anything when it goes away. And to add that, the added line of them saying, oh, this is something that a male Time Lord's mind can't comprehend. Did that really need to be there? I know Donna Noble is the kind of character who always likes to, take the piss out of the Doctor, but that line really? Just saying, yeah, you're a male Time Lord, and if you were a woman, you'd be able to comprehend that. Did that line need to be in there? Especially in a moment where the meta-crisis is so ineffectively just sort of let go, like they're ripping a fat cloud. But yeah, that was my biggest problem when it came to the Starbeast, the resolution to the meta-crisis. And now Dr. Donna just has all of her intellectual memories back with seemingly no consequences whatsoever, unless they are building up to some consequences that she will face in the second or third part of the 60th anniversary special. Who knows? But for now, it does feel a bit like a kick up the arse. And the second problem that I had with this, rather unfortunately, was David Tennant's portrayal as the 14th Doctor. And that's not me saying it's a bad portrayal, because David Tennant is a fantastic actor. He can slip into playing the role of the Doctor, like putting on a cosy pair of slippers. He can do it so naturally. But the 14th Doctor inevitably just feels too similar, if not beat for beat, like the 10th Doctor. If it weren't for David Tennant looking slightly older and wearing that different costume, you could replace him with the 10th Doctor, and I feel like nothing would really change other than him, mentioning memories of Doctors after the 10th Doctor, when he talks about, oh yeah, for a moment I wore a bow tie, for a moment I was Scottish, for a moment I was a woman, and stuff like that. Aside from those, aside from him referencing stuff that the future Doctors after the 10th Doctor have done, he just feels beat for beat like the 10th Doctor, which was my biggest worry going into this. It's still a great performance, he's still wonderful to see playing the Doctor, and I'm certain that's what they were banking on for the millions of people watching this time of year. But yeah, if they were going for originality with the 14th Doctor, they didn't get it. One smaller gripe that I had with this before we move on to the positives was the presence of Sean Temple. Nothing really much to say about him, he was just kind of like a pointless addition, didn't really feel like he needed to be there. He's acted well, but he just didn't feel like he added much to the story other than to just say, I'm really happy with the family that I've got. It's serviceable, but yeah, that's about it when it comes to my negatives, so on to the positives. The special effects are fantastic. I think that's the easiest bit of praise that I can give the Starbeast in regards to what it did right. You can clearly tell that they've been given a Disney level budget for this, because while we have always come to grow accustomed to cheesy special effects in Doctor Who productions, when the effects in the Starbeast look good, they look really damn good. And unlike in the Chippendale era, where they also had their fair share of impressive, special effects, you actually have a length of time to appreciate them thanks to the direction on behalf of the ever fantastic Rachel Talalay, who, if you don't know, directed one of my absolute favourite episode of all time from Doctor Who, Heaven Sent. Nothing feels like it's filmed in a way that doesn't allow you to take in the wonderful scope of these special effects and the set designs. It feels like there are lengthy shots with great direction with establishing where the characters are and the scope of the locations that they end up in, and at no point does the camera feel like it's constantly up in the characters' faces, following them around like an unwanted fly, like a lot of the shots in the Chippendale era were. It feels like it gives the sets and the characters enough room to breathe, and because of that, the special effects have more room to breathe, and we're able to take in just how much effort and how many hours went into putting these together, which is a lot more than you can say for Marvel productions nowadays. Also, as much as, the 14th Doctor being, too similar to the 10th Doctor in my eyes, just seeing David Tennant and Catherine Tate on set together was just like magic. It really recaptures that Series 4 magic that they had all the way back then. Having rewatched a lot of the series up to the celebration of the Starbeast, rewatching, Series 4 not too long ago, it's still relatively fresh in my mind, and the magic that they had there is perfect here. These are two actors who love what they do and love working with each other. They really do. You genuinely see that when they're on camera, when they're just having a laugh together or they're being genuine in their serious, darker moments. It really shows that. It's great when two very talented actors who've spent God knows how long away from these characters, Catherine Tate more so than David Tennant, since he does the Big Finish audio productions as well as a bunch of other Doctor Who related stuff, so it's almost like he never really left the role. But to go that length of time without being, filmed as these characters on camera, and then to just recapture that with the snap of the fingers, is just it's brilliant. It's magical to see, and I feel like that's exactly what people needed to see for a 60th anniversary special. I read a couple of tweets and heard a few conversations on how the sonic screwdriver kind of feels overpowered now with the kind of shit that it does in this special. At one point it draws a holographic screen which the Doctor can use to bring up blueprints and a scan of the ironworks that he's inspecting this rocket ship in. But I love it. I love that about the new sonic screwdriver. We haven't had a close-up look at it as far as I can remember. We haven't had a shot that shows in detail what the screwdriver looks like, if my memory is correct. But what it's able to do with drawing the holographic screen, The Doctor's basically got a portable computer now. He's basically got a holographic laptop on command with him. That's brilliant. Whether or not they decide to carry that on to Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, who knows? But I dig it. Going back to what I mentioned with the visual effects and the directing, the colour palette in particular for the Starbeast is noticeably better than the previous era. Again, I'm not trying to, shame on that era too much, but even when they were trying to be their most atmospheric and flashy with what they could, do with the set designs, it felt like a lot of the times the colours were either washed out or too lens flary. They used a lot of lens flares when they really kind of didn't need to be. Whereas in here, not only is there less lens flares, but I don't know, just something about it, the greens and the blues pop more, and the yellows and reds, particularly from the Time Lord energy that emerges from Donna and Rose when they let go of the meta crisis. The yellows aren't as ugly as they were in the Chibnall era, which again I just felt like noticing that. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that or if it's just a me thing, but I like it. There's also the very effective opening to this that feels very personal, with the Doctor talking directly to us with space in the background, and Donna talking to us like we're hanging out in her kitchen. It's a very effective opening that brings us up to speed on where they are in their current friendship, how long they've spent apart from each other, and really sets the stakes for the rest of these upcoming specials. I caught the flashbacks to Series 4 looking noticeably different, because Series 4 was obviously filmed in standard definition, whereas nowadays the series will be filmed in HD. But did anybody else notice that the footage looked significantly different? I know that the HD Blu-ray releases for Series 1 to 4 are coming out soon, so is that their method of promoting it? If so, props to them, because the footage in that, when they're flashing back to Series 4, looks fucking amazing. Which, two other smaller positives to note are, I like that it's doing continuity building again, which is mainly, again, calling back to a lot of what happened in Series 4, bringing us into a where are they now scenario, because it has been since 2008, well technically 2010 if you count, the end of time. And seeing that continuity world building, which Russell is well known to do, which I have talked about, shameless plug, it feels like it's adding more to the universe, even if it is just a couple of, references to Series 4. And the last thing to note is the new TARDIS interior. Oh my god, I love the new TARDIS interior. For one, compared to the Chibnall era's TARDIS interior, I can actually see the fucking thing. It's not constantly lit in darkness. But you feel the size of it, and maybe that could be a detriment to some people with how it kind of feels very empty in a way. I could definitely get that, but it feels so spacious. All the paths and the doors leading into multiple directions, and all the round things, as the Doctor likes to call them. We all love the round things. We love to see them. It feels like the right mesh of Matt Smith's TARDIS interior, with all the paths and the stairs and the doors going in all sorts of directions, but the dignity and the dazzling sci-fi-ness of Peter Capaldi's TARDIS interior. It feels like a fusion of those two, and I love it. I really love it. And whether it's... Oh, don't tell me my lights died again. And again, depending on where this TARDIS interior goes with Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, if they bring in another TARDIS interior after this, which would seem like a very costly thing to do. For the TARDIS interior that it is now, I love it. I really do love it. A couple other things to note is, while the acting in this from, David Tennant, Catherine Tate, Jacqueline King, and Miriam Marigolds as the villain, Beep the Meep, were all, very great. Yasmine Finney as Rose Noble feels very subdued to the rest of the actors in this production. While she works great in the quieter moments, I love her scenes when she's talking with Beep the Meep, where things are a lot more quieter. She's great in that regard, but when she's trying to be a bit louder in the more dangerous scenarios, you know, like avoiding the like gunfights between, you know, aliens, and the sci-fi stuff with, you know, her flipping buttons to save the day and being dramatic in letting go of the meta crisis, she felt a little bit restrained in what she was doing, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody else had a problem with that, but it just felt a little bit flat in those areas. Great in the quieter moments, flat in the more bombastic and more dramatic moments where other actors would excel. The significance of her being a trans actor in a massive Doctor Who production, not just for the, you know, the 60th anniversary, but the first Doctor Who production to air on Disney Plus for millions of people across the globe to see, shouldn't go understated. It's very important to understand her significance in this. The story that they tell, you know, with a character I thought was done quite well, and the effectiveness of Rose Temple's story in this, you know, the isolation and feeling like she's from a different planet in this story. That's going to hit close to home for many other trans people across the globe. It's going to resonate with possibly the same sort of isolation and fear that they felt, and let them know that they're not alone in this universe, which is something that Doctor Who has always tried to do. More so with the new Who stuff, with the classic era, that I could comment on, because I've not watched a lot of the classic era, but it's always been a priority in some regard, no matter what era it is, to make anyone and everyone feel welcome, which they should be. And I feel like Rose Temple as a character hits that on the head, and hits the nail on the head, I should say. They don't actually, nobody hits anybody on the head. I'm sorry. And it is important to recognise the significance of a trans actor in this production, and it's going to make some people uncomfortable, it's going to make them roll their eyes, and to that I say, there's a door that way, why don't you go find it? And yeah, those are my very brief thoughts on the first of the 60th anniversary specials. Maybe it is, you know, too soon for judging the production, you know, this early on, since we've only got, you know, part 1 of 3, and and now we're waiting for Wild Blue Yonder and The Giggle. Still can't believe that's the name of a Doctor Who episode. But then we also have dinosaurs on a spaceship, so it can't be anything crazier. But no, I just wanted to give my very brief thoughts on this and join in the online conversation, as I'm sure many other whovians are doing. So yeah, with that said, let me know what you thought of the Starbeast in the comments, whether you agree or disagree with some of the stuff that I said, and please be polite. With that said, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and I'll see you in a bit.